Just to recall what we have covered in the last class, we have started with the fresh module that has something to do with only technological forecast. So, what we have studied in the first class, what is technology forecasting? It is predicting the future when it comes in terms of technology, which every company has to do it to stay in the market. These are various definitions of technology forecast which we have done. These are the primary aspects which we have discussed. Why technology forecasting? Because it is indispensable. You cannot live without you. There is no choice. To stay in the market, you have to study it. Technology forecasting, as I discussed in the earlier, it applies to product, services, and machines. We are we are not supposed to think and design things for today. We should be somewhere 20 years from ahead. So especially now, as we know that there is a very fast advancement, especially because of development in internet, IoT, software, where advanced hardwares are there supporting. So all these things make technology as one of the fastest growing aspects. So to address to all these needs, technological forecasting is a must. These are the discussions we have done. For every forecasting, we need to have a model. A model should basically consist of an input and an output. Output is the forecast, what you're expecting. Input is the data, what you're doing. And as you know that forecasting is something we can say based only on data. Data science. As I said, no, the future belongs to data. So there are a lot of courses. So the most important aspect of technology forecasting is data. All it matters is only data. So once you process the input, you have the output for which there is a review. This model can be further expressed in the form of this figure, which I have discussed. So basically, technological forecasting consists of what? That is the input, that is a problem. What is the objective, what you want to achieve? Then there is a data input, there is a forecaster, that is a process. Then there are techniques are there. So in today's classes, this is what techniques which we are going to study in detail. This is the techniques which we are going to study in detail. Forecasting techniques. Then once these techniques are applied, then we have the output. The output has to be reviewed. If it is successful, well and good. If it is not there, why it is not there? There are of course a lot of uncertainties. Then this is the objective of forecasting technology. These are five major aspects: second, third, fourth, and fifth, which we have thoroughly discussed. And short forecasting is basically of three different types: a medium, short term, medium term, and long term. So one more point of view today, let's see simple definition of technology forecast is what, when, where, and why. So in simple words, technology about is what you want to do, when you want to do, where you want to do, why you want to do. It starts with what, why, when, and where. What is starts with the need, why the problem, when the time limit, where, how, and when what you are doing to how you are doing to solve. So a simple definition of forecast is a comprehensive description of emergence, performance, feature, and impact of a technology in a particular place of a particular point of time in the future. Time frame, 10 years from now, where we stand. Okay, that's about technological forecast. Then what is prediction? A statement about the future, anticipatory vision or perception. See, this prediction is very, very important. What and why. Now, as I said, this figure will clearly indicate this is the age of data. Who is a powerful person? If we can say that the one who has all the data. So data makes a lot of difference. You have volumes of data. So once you have the data, you can study the data, interpret, and then you can proceed. So this is the technology of data. So this is one slide which will tell you importance about data. See again, when we study about technological methods, I'll tell you what are the different methods, how they're classified, which method you have to use, where you have to use, how you have to use, when you are going to use which method. All these factors are there. So before knowing the technological forecast methods, so what is the choice of forecast depends on what you want to do, what is the technology, what is the time frame, what is the resource available, both in terms of the our resources available by manpower and machines, and also most important is the money power. So depends on what sort of forecasting you require and what is the budget you are going to decide. What for? Why required? Again, we have discussed because you have to stay in the market, you have to cope up with the time, you have to decide where your company will be there from 20 years from now. These are all the things why technology forecasting is very, very important. Now coming to the main topic of discussion for today, that is technological forecasting methods. Lot of methods are there available for people to adopt and use the right method. So when we say methods, we can classify into two basic types, that is quantitative methods and qualitative methods. Quantitative methods are those where we can express the data in forms of numbers, where everything is there in numbers, some data is there which is easy to specify. Qualitative means you don't have any data, for which you have to collect all the feedback in the form of survey. So if the data is expressed in numbers, you can go for quantitative. If it is expressed, cannot be expressed, that is intangible, then you can go for qualitative. This is one way how things are classified. But in technology forecasting, we have two different types of methods which are following. One is called as exploratory, another one is called as the normative. Exploring for tomorrow. Explorative means you have certain data today. Based on the available data, you are going to design the future. What you are, what you want to be from today to tomorrow. Opposite of that is normative technology, where you know where you want to be after 10 years. You go to the future, come back. What you want to become, what you want to achieve, you have decided in future. From their future, you go there, and it's almost like reverse engineering. So both are, once you know the future goals, you go from, you work backward to the present. So both are different methods. In each of these, we have got different methods, which I will show you in the form of these diagrams. Again, these are explorative techniques, normative. Explorative techniques means those techniques where you have the present data. Based on the data, you are trying to predict the future. Normative, you have certain idea about the future. To prepare for the future, what data you want to be prepared. So technology monitoring, so different books are there, different names have been given. These are all some of the types. Whichever I found that the best topic is covered, we have covered. Apart from these, different methods may be there for which also you have to follow. So now one more way of classification also I am given, same exploratory and normative. In that again, in exploratory again, we are divided into two types. Intuition means these are all about opinion, collecting data from experts. Extrapolation is purely mathematical form, where you try to predict the data in the form of an equation, which is either linear or expansion, what we call as a, in mathematical terminology, you might be aware of what is called as curve fitting. Similarly, advanced form is growth curves, where you have Pearl and a Complex curve. When it comes to one more important form of the expertise, technology monitoring. Monitoring means scanning the technology. All these points we will cover, and I want to go to you in detail about this. And for normative, they are basically flow diagrams. We call them as morphological analysis, relevance trees, and other data. So today's class will study about all these methods very briefly. So this is again, as I discussed, this is I just give this slide is just presented here for you to know the difference between what is qualitative and quantitative. See, Quantitative means whenever you have the data based on mathematics, you know clear objective and it is very easy to predict. Qualitative means these are subjective in nature. Those things, see, like I said, no. How do you measure the happiness of a customer? How do you measure the customer satisfaction? There are some data which cannot be expressed in numbers for you. Have some survey form, opinions are collected. Based on that, you're going to predict. So this is the difference between qualitative versus quantitative. So as I said now, two basic classification, explorative, normatory. Explorative means whatever data is present, based on that you are going to predict the future. Normative, you have something to achieve in the future, based on that you go backwards. So the first and simple thing is technology monitoring, for which it is just based on whatever data is there, all the information is gathered, it is filtered. Filtered means unwanted data is removed, processed, and structured for using for. So it's a very simple and easy process where data is taken, scanning process is done, where all the entire data is scanned, and in fact some data where environment scanning is required also is done. The sources of information identified, all the information is gathered, filtered, processed, and structured for forecasting. And sometimes what happens, because of huge volumes of data. So in this data, some are valuable, some are not valuable. Redundant in what you call redundant data, data which is not useful may come into the system and delay the process. So this is one of the easiest method where data is there, which we can process and use it for forecasting. That is the first. Second is called as the trend analysis. Different names have been given for this. Curves, what in mathematics already you have studied, what we call as curve fitting. Based on the data, you can either use for linear method, y is equal to mx plus c, where we have got m is the slope, y is the output, and M and C are the constants. Available data, you can fit a curve and you can extrapolate it further. So you know the difference. What is extrapolation and interpolation? Extrapolation, you are going to predict what is the. So either you can use linear method or exponential method. So in the further slides, I have tried to explain to you. So it's a type of forecasting where the data is used to predict the future by using purely mathematical or what we call as the statistical tools. Okay. So now this is the trend exploration, in which we have got linear. So you already know about this, much need not to be discussed, where we assume that the curve is in the form of a straight line, or if it is in the exponential, you can use. So whichever curve is fitted, you have taken, based on that, you are going to predict, for which some more slides will be there, which I can later on add to you. And again, for all these, I need to give some examples which have been actively carried out in some industries. When we call about technology, more or less, we will be dealing with some industry which are deeply involved, like IBM is there, Siemens is there, ABB is there. These are people who want to predict the future. Now, two more methods are there. Expert opinion, as the name itself indicates, you are going to collect the data from all the people who are expert in the. So nowadays, you know that all the forecasting process, they are all interdisciplinary, or a lot of people from different quarters. You have to collect the information. So you only thing is that you identify the experts, take all their opinion, and then take a decision. So this is the collecting opinion. More or less, it is an opinion. And the most important and the most popular of all the explorative techniques is the Delphi technique. So it is DELPHI or DELPHY. So as I said, now when I discussed it about history of technological forecasting, one of the major milestone of technology forecasting is the development of this Delphi technique. So like what we call as in group discussions, where similar to the where we call expert opinion, here you have to collect the information from a group of experts. It's a continuation of expert opinion. So now here, what we do, how it is the procedure adopted, that also I'll explain to you. Every person is going to give an opportunity where he or she will try to present his own views. It is from his perception he is going to present the views. Everyone will be given the opportunity. There is a leader who is appointed in the group. He supplies questions to all. So as you know that what happens when we have group discussion, there are some halo effect. It's not HE, it has to be HA, halo effect, bandwagon effect, ego effect. See what happens, see, whenever they're experts, they may not able to discuss freely because of the ego. Their ego is hurt. One person will give his opinion, other person will try to overtake him. So ego clashes are there. So independently they are collected the data. So ego clash is avoided. There is no bias at all. Halo effect. See, mental fixity. Already you have something predetermined in mind that is called as a halo effect. So that is more or less tried to overcome. How this process is carried out, let us see. So this is where it's a subjective in nature, only based not on data but on only opinion. It's not objective, it is subjective. Okay. When your data is not there, when ethical evaluation is required, you go for Delphi. What this process, there are two slides which will help you to understand. First, a group of experienced people is selected. Then there is a questionnaire prepared. So based on each questionnaire, every expert has to answer these questions independently. They are asked to forecast the this one. The responses are collected and importance are taken with some consents. What is consents? All these opinions have to come and focused at one point. That is called as the consensus. In the second round, the results of the first round are sent back to all the participants and we make a list of all the responses and try to generalize them. Third again round, further responses set by which you after filtering all the responses, third or round, then we call it as a leader or a moderator who collects all these and then summarizes all the responses. Next, for the fourth round, all the statistical information and points are made. What is the outcome of this discussion? They are presented to all the participants and everyone has to express his or her opinion. At the end of the fourth round, we call them as a moderator or you can also call as the group leader, collects all the data and then comes into the forecast. There is some uncertainty, but uncertainty in other I would like to say some disagreement which is always there. They're all sorted out. Critical issues are listed down and then it is seen that all the people together arrive at one common conclusion or we call as a consensus. Okay. Now, this is the procedure how the Delphi technique is carried out. Further, this is one more method which is called as the scenario development, which is imagine description based on the quantitative end. It's not that that popular, but in cases where the situation is uncertain, you can go for this form of development. So other form, this is explorative. You have data, you predict future. Normative, as I said, no, it is backwards. In this, there are relevance trees, flow diagrams. Based on that, we create a model. Now, because of the advanced software, we can create the models. Based on this, what you want to achieve. So one such example, dynamic modeling. So based on the trends identified by the researchers, you can go for cross impact analysis. Events are related. They are tried to interpret. Developments have been made. And the most popular is the morphological analysis, where all the future technology imagination is taken and tried to analyze the feasibility so that they come. So these are all things which are not that. So explorative is more popular, but in the modern relevance is scenario development, dynamic modeling. These are all upcoming trends where we want to see. So one more is the series indicator. So indicators which are in the form of leading, coincident or lagging, they are categorized and they are examined, which affect the life of the technology. So some more methods are there which we can discuss. So now these are all the methods for which all the information I'll be giving in your notes or I'll try to cover in these slides. Now which forecast think technique already in the earlier also we have discussed what are the requirements of a good technological forecast. So how you gather? First thing is that what one technique holds for one doesn't hold for good. For every particular problem, you have to find a new forecasting. Two things are important: accuracy and cost. Both are related to each other. More data, more experts, more advanced software will incur cost. If cost is the important factor, if you are ready to invest a lot of money, or you do believe that the technology with which you are dealing is very important, then you can invest a lot of money. See, these are all forecasts which will help the company to understand what the future will be there. So they have to invest in tomorrow, or else they will be losing the race. And accuracy, these are all related to each other. More accurate data involves more cost, or what we so which technique, what is the cost of investment, what is the accuracy required, and important is what is the data you have. If you have data, you can go for one technique. If you don't have data, you can select other technique. What is the advanced hardware and software you have? What is the time you have to analyze the data? And within what time you have to forecast? These are all the things which will decide which forecast you are going to decide. So this is about today's class about technology forecasting we discussed in the earlier session. Today's session is what are the different types of technology forecasting, why technology forecasting is required, how they are classified into quantitative, qualitative, or other we can say exploratory or normative. What is the difference between these two? What are the different techniques in these? In explorative, you can go for trend exploration, Delphi technique. Then we have got trend analysis. Then we have got scanning the data. Whereas in normative, we have got advanced forms like dynamic modeling. Then we have got relevance trees, morphological analysis. So these are all the different techniques which you have to study. So we will take up the next topic in the forthcoming session. So now I also given to you assignment 4. In assignment 4, I have tried to give some general questions which you have to put some effort and try to answer them. The other three were more of assignments were more or less were straight questions where you need to collect the information and put it in your assignment, which was straightforward. So I tried to create some creative, imaginative. You have to put some effort, solve the answers. Where that's why I given some different questions in what we call as assignment number 4. And all these, see, whenever these are all theory we are studying, they are better understood when they are studied parallelly by taking certain case studies. What happened in IBM? What happened in Siemens? What happened in Toyota? So if you analyze all these, then you can uh, try to implement or understand things in a better way. Okay. So anyway, this is the topic which you have covered today in your fourth module. Then also I may be planning a small quiz session to you as a part of your small, not an internal exam, but almost similar to that. The more details I'll be sharing with you shortly. Thank you.